Hey guys, hello again. It's a wonderful day. I'm just about over all that, COVID nonsense. And I wanted to do a video today on something really important. All right, take a look here. I reviewed this guitar a while ago. It's my Firefly FFLP, right? Had a few things wrong with it. And since then, though, I have come to really, really love this guitar. I mean, a lot. Love playing it. Love everything about it. And one of the main reasons for that is because of how much time I've put in it. And honestly, this thing plays so well now. That's why I like it so much. It plays terrific. And you can have a guitar that, plays as well as this or as well as anything out there, as well as a guitar can. Every guitar has its limits, but it's pretty easy to do a setup on a guitar. I'll go over the basics. Now keep in mind, you got time. If you own a guitar, you buy it, you're just learning how to set stuff up, you have time to fiddle with it. All you want, right? And I have fiddled with this guitar a lot over a long period of time, adjusted stuff, played it, adjusted stuff, played it, seen how I like it, and just fiddled with it until I've got it pretty much dialed in exactly the way I like. That makes all the difference. So when you're working on that, the first thing you want to do, first things first, is, the first thing I do is I'll mess with the truss rod. Now I might go back and readjust things later as I move along, but usually I'm going to go over just the basics of how to do a basic setup. Don't be intimidated. Don't be afraid. You can do it. Especially if you buy an inexpensive guitar, something you don't mind fiddling around on. I'm not going to go into anything that's irreversible, like, taking out a file and trying to level the frets or stuff like that. Nothing complicated and nothing that you can't adjust back if you want to, So, first thing I do, take a look at the truss rod. Now, how you do that, you can capo it at the first fret, but I usually just fret the first fret, and then I'll go up to like the 15th, 17th fret, somewhere up around here, and fret it, and take a look at the string. It should have a little bit of room between the string and the fret. You can tap it. You can hear that. Should be able to tap it a little bit. Have just a little bit of that bow in the neck, right? Just a hair, not a lot. Some people, I've heard it said you want about 2 playing cards width between the fret and the string. Some people do it a little bit less. Some people want a hair more. It's up to personal preference. Now keep in mind, if you have to adjust the truss rod, a lot of times it's up here under this cover on the headstock, right? Take the cover off. It's anywhere from 1 to 3 screws. Comes right off. And there'll be, usually it's an Allen wrench that fits in there. A lot of times when you buy a new guitar, it'll come with an Allen wrench that fits that. If it doesn't, it's not that big a deal. Buy an Allen wrench set, they're like $5. You turn it. If you want it to go to bow more, that way, you, let's see, the string tension pulls it out this way. So you want to bring it back, you tighten it, and it'll reduce the amount of bow in it. You loosen it, it'll give it more bow in the middle there. So if you don't have any room, when you do that, no room between the string and the fret, right? You want to loosen it. Let it have a little more bow. If you have if you have too much room when you do that, too much space there, the string is still too far off the fret, you want to tighten it. You tighten it too much, and you'll get back bow, where it starts to bow out toward the strings. That's bad. You don't want that. I can't think any time you actually want that. But depending on how level your frets are, this actually, I didn't have to adjust the truss rod on this. This came pretty good. The frets are pretty level. And then, after you adjust it, it can take an hour or two for it to completely set in. So make your adjustment and take a look at it. You can take a look right off the bat, see if that's closer to what you want. And try all your strings. You know, just play. Play chromatic scales in different parts of the neck and make sure you don't have any dead spots. A badly adjusted truss rod will give you like dead spots. There'll be spots where the string doesn't ring out or it buzzes real bad against the frets. So you play around with that, and you could take your time, make adjustments as needed. You don't have to do it all in one shot. You can do it over the course of days. It's your guitar, you own it, especially if you get a cheap guitar to practice on. You got plenty of time. Make an adjustment, wait a day, so it, let that truss rod adjustment completely settle in, make another adjustment, wait a day, until you get it exactly how you want. I usually do that first, and then adjust the string height, adjust the action. That's on the bridge. Different guitars have different bridges. This is Les Paul style, so it has 2 screws, one on either side, and you can adjust it up and down. And, you got the saddle here. That's where, you can adjust the string height. Now, a lot of people will recommend different string heights. You can find videos on YouTube all over the place, information all over the internet. You can ask everybody. And usually it's the people give you a pretty good idea where you want it. And it's measure so high off of the fret or so high off of the fretboard on the high string, on the low string. I usually do about, 2/64ths on the high string, 3/64ths on the low string is a good place to start. But from there, try adjusting it up a little bit on either side, play it some, see what you think, get it where you think you like it, and then play it for a couple of days. Just let that adjustment sink in. Some people like it higher, some people like it lower. If you get it too low, you're going to have problems where it buzzes against the strings or it doesn't play right. So you can't get it too low. But if you fiddle with it, take your time. Like I said, I could give you numbers and tell you this is where you adjust the strings to. But the truth is you're going to find that you might like it a little bit higher than I do, or a little bit lower than I do. It just depends. I mean, I have this set pretty low. I got this about as low as I can get it without the frets buzzing and without it, with it still playing good. Now, like I said, somehow this neck has really came out good. The frets are terrific. Everything's really level. It's rather flat. Everything's pretty good right off the bat. So I was able to get these strings pretty low on this guitar. That's one of the things I really like. I like low strings. Some people don't. Some people like it a little bit higher. And I understand why. It's because it takes a little bit of getting used to. If you can get the action really low and it still plays good, man, you barely touch that string and it's on the fret. It's great if you want to play fast stuff. But if I don't know, if you got a little bit of issues with feeling in your fingers, or you're not quite that accurate, or you're not much of a shredder, you might want it a little bit higher. So, but string height, you can fiddle with it. You can take your time, man. Find what you like. And that's what I did with this. I fiddled with the string height a bunch over the course of weeks. Over about 2 months, I just adjusted things until I had it exactly the way I wanted it. Right? Next, you want to make sure your pickup height is good, especially if you adjust the strings down. Because I found that when I got it where I wanted it, they were so close to the pickups. It was making it sound really not that good, right? The pickups were too close to the strings. So I adjusted the pickups down. Maybe you have your pickups really low and you need to bring them up. You bring them up and you get... you want a hotter sound, you want something with a little more bite, bring them up. If it's so close, if it's so hot that it's like distorting the sound and it's ain't right. Like on mine, especially in my interface, it was clipping. I could turn the interface, the preamp all the way down and it was still clipping. So I had to lower the pickups. These are pretty hot pickups, actually. Firefly, they got some mighty hot pickups in these guitars. Honestly, I thought I might have to replace them, but I like it. I like a hot pickup on a guitar. You know, I got guitars that have pickups that are a lot less hot on them, have, you know, a lot less lower output, and I like that sometimes, but I like these pickups. I ended up having to move them down. And I'd say fiddle with it, play around with it, adjust them, try it between, you know, between the neck and bridge pickup, with them both on. You want to get it to where the bridge pickup and the neck pickup are like about the same volume. You want it to be, you know, the volume not to change a lot when you switch pickups. That's the idea. And get it the way you want it to sound. I mean, you're not me. You might like something different than me, so I'm not going to tell you where to adjust it to. I'm going to tell you how to adjust it. You got a screw on either side, right? On this, you have 4 screws that hold the cover in, that hold the pickups in, and you have a screw on either side. The one's right in the middle. You can see them here and here. And those adjust the pickup up and down. With this, I turn it to the left, it goes down, turn it to the right, it comes up, right? I don't know. I don't know if they're all the same. I haven't tried like every guitar in the world. Some of them might be reverse of that or something, but I mean, you can look at it and see if it's going up or down, right? But just fiddle with it until you find the height that gives you the sound that you want. And when you find that height, go with it, right? I'm not going to tell you how to do it. I'm not going to tell you what tone you should be chasing. You should find that out, man. But that's how you adjust them. It's real easy. Just 2 screws on each one. Adjust each side up and down. Find what you like. And then finally, intonation. And I did a video on how to intonate your guitar, but just to run it over real quick, there's a screw on the saddle that changes where that saddle is on, you know, move it out, move it in, changes the length of the string, right? And basically, I'll go over it real quick again. You tune your string, you plug it into a good tuner. I got a good tuner on my computer. Headstock tuner will work-ish. You know, whatever you got is good enough, but if you can get a really good tuner, get a good tuner. You play it open, then you fret it on the 12th fret, halfway, and play it there. And where that, it should be perfectly in tune when it's open. When you fret the 12th fret and play it, it should also be in tune. If on the 12th fret it's sharp or flat, you need to adjust that string on your saddle, right? So, you know, if it's sharp, you got to make the string longer. If it's flat, you got to make it shorter. So that's how you do it. I went over on my video about intonating a guitar, the different types of bridges and saddles that have different types of adjustments, right? On this one, it's on this side, under the string. So to make the adjustment, you gotta detune the string, detune it all the way down, and move the string over to the saddle next to it so I can make the adjustment. And then put it back and tune it back up and check it. So at that point, you got your truss rod done, you got your bridge height, you know, your string height, your pickups, your intonation done. Make sure you do the intonation last, because if you adjust any of those other things, you got to go back and redo the intonation. Now that's not a big deal, right? You just learned how to do it. It's just time. If you have the time, it's all good, you know. But usually you aim to do the intonation last because adjusting everything else will change that intonation. But once you get everything where you want it and sounding good, then you'll have a guitar that, I mean, you're going to like a lot better than when you got it. I like this guitar okay when I got it. After doing all that, I love this guitar. Love it. Another thing you might want to do before you go making adjustments is try different strings, right? Find the thickness of strings that works for you. I bought some 7-gauge strings. Lightest ones I could get. I did a video on those too. They were those Dunlop Billy Gibbons branded strings. I got the Mexican lottery ones, but there are other brands. Anything that's a 7-gauge, really, really thin strings. I like the thin, light strings set really low. Lets you, you know, I like the feel, right? It makes it real easy to play faster. It takes a little bit of getting used to. Thin strings, you don't feel them as much, especially when you got thick calluses on your fingers like I do from playing a lot of acoustic guitar. it can be hard to feel the strings when you get thin strings. And for playing acoustic guitar, I kind of have a heavy press, and I got to really be careful to lighten it up when the strings are that thin and they're set that low. But still, I dig it. I dig it on this guitar. I got different guitars that are set up different. So you find the strings you like, that can be good to do first because it's going to change the way everything else works. With the lighter strings, I could set the action just a hair lower than I could with the thicker strings. Not much, just a little bit, but it made a difference. So after all of that, I have a guitar that I really, really love playing. I mean, this thing is a ton of fun. And it also feels more like mine. It's more personal because I've been working on it and I've made it suit me. Now, if you take your guitar to a good luthier and ask him to set it up, he'll ask you what your playing style is, what you're going for, and he'll do what you tell him to. And a lot of times, most of them are pretty competent. They'll get it right. They'll get the intonation right. They'll get the pickup height relatively where you would want it, the height, the string height, action, all that pretty much where you want it. But there's something about doing it yourself that just makes it really, really personal. And for me, that's what this guitar is, man. It's really personal, and I had a lot of fun doing it, right? I've learned a lot. I've been learning over the last couple years how to do all this stuff, and this guitar, it just came out the best. Of all my guitars, this setup came out the best. Now, the guitar has something to do with that. Like I said, I lucked out. I'm not saying all Fireflies have necks this good. I don't know. I've only bought one. But this neck is absolutely terrific. It is really flat. The frets are really level. I mean, just right out of the box. It's really, really good. And like I said, I love the pickups. Some of the electronics, I mentioned in my review on this guitar, the tone knob doesn't really work, and the volume knob is a bit glitchy. But I'm okay with that since I usually run the tone all the way up and the volume all the way up and adjust it on the amp or on the interface. So that doesn't bother me too much. But overall, I gotta say, this has been a great guitar, and it's turned out to have the best setup for me, right? Now that's luck of the draw. I've got like a bunch of guitars, and this one came out the best. I've done setups on most of them, and most of them they're better than when I got them. I really dig it. Just worked out really well with this one. And if you play around with your guitar enough, different guitars, you're going to find that one that really suits you really well. And in the days of inexpensive guitars, like this was $200. In the days where you can get good guitars for, $200, $300 for really top-notch instruments, it's affordable. That $1,200 you would have spent on a premium guitar, you can buy, you can buy 5 or 6 of these different types, different models, different brands, and just mess around with them, Find the one that you really, really dig. And for me, so far, this one I really dig for certain things, So that's what I got for you today. I want to tell you, you can set up your guitar, right? Like I said, I wouldn't go, if you're new to this, I wouldn't go messing around with a $1,200 guitar. I wouldn't go messing around with even a $500 guitar. But when you're starting out, if you get you a, $200 guitar, or even go to a pawn shop, get one for $100 and just fiddle with it until it's the way you like it. You can learn how to do this stuff, right? I'm not even getting into difficult things like fret leveling and all that kind of, not even replacing pickups or electronics or anything like that. We're just talking about basic setup stuff can make all the difference for you, especially because if you do it yourself, you take your time, you fiddle with it over time, you can get it exactly how you want it. More than anybody else can. Because you take it to a luthier, they do the best they can, but you're the one that goes home and plays it, and you're going to find things you might like better. So learn how to do it yourself. That's a good beginner's bit to it. There's plenty of information online to learn more if you want to. So I appreciate you all watching. Hey man, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. I'm going to be doing more videos like this, more stuff about guitars, more stuff about all kinds of music related stuff, and I'm even going to do some songs. So I love you guys. Peace out. See you next time.